Joining us now is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee and a member of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds. Good morning, Senator. I wish it was under better circumstances, and we were talking about the upcoming confirmation hearings. But obviously, with our armed services in your portfolio, I'm sure your focus right now is down the street at the Potomac.
It is, along with everyone else here in Washington. This is devastating for this entire community out here, and all the members that are on the Hill are all well aware of it. We all use that airport, and we have loved ones that use it. We know family, friends all use it, and so anytime you have a terrible tragedy like this, your thoughts go out to those family members that have been devastated by this news, and at the same time, you want to provide closure for them, and you also then think about the folks who have been working all night long, the first responders, and the fact that they've been there this entire time, and the very challenging work that they have ahead of them to try to bring closure to all of these families.
Yeah, and I have to think that this hits home for you, Senator, and all of the other elected members there of Congress, because as you said, you and your families travel back and forth using that airport all of the time. What was your initial reaction when you found out what had happened?
My first thought was, how could it happen?
Right.
What happened in this particular case? What went wrong? This is a safe airport. It's a very busy airport. There's lots of helicopter traffic as well along that river, but there's a standard route they fly. And at the same time, look, we have over 400 flights a day in and out of Reagan, and we haven't had a problem here for years. And so what happened in this particular case? Was it a lack of communication? Was it an avionics failure? What happened? And so I think there are many of us just simply want to know, what is it that needs to be done so that it doesn't happen again? What can we learn from this? And at the same time, let's make sure that we do everything we can to help those families recognize the loss that they've got and try to help bring closure to them as well.
Yeah, Senator, one of the things that we have seen and been covering all night is obviously how the air traffic controllers told the military helicopter, that Black Hawk helicopter, to go behind the incoming American Airlines flight. We've heard the air traffic control tape of that. So clearly, they were told to avoid the commercial airliner. I think you're having a hearing today with the new Secretary of the Army designee. Have a feeling this might come up as one of the topics of conversation today.
It may, and once again, the investigation itself would normally be handled here with the FAA, the National Transportation Safety Board, and so forth, through the Department of Transportation. I know that the Army, through the Department of Defense, with Secretary Hegseth, has already pledged their full support in following through on this investigation, and I'm quite certain that as the Secretary of the Army nominee, this individual will also have an opportunity to respond. I think this is a case of when we don't draw conclusions, we simply recognize that we've got professionals on the job there, allow them to do their work, but find out what happened and just simply make sure that it never happens again.
Do you still expect all of these Senate hearings that were scheduled for today to go on as planned, as scheduled?
I do. I know that we have, in Intel, we have an open hearing coming up on Tulsi Gabbard. We expect that to move forward as scheduled, both the open hearing and also the closed hearing thereafter. We've got our work to do yet. We recognize that for the news cycle and so forth, the most important thing is to cover, this terrible tragedy and so forth. But we still have to do our work as well. Just like, millions of Americans across this country have to go to work and get their work done, we have to do the same thing.
Yeah, pivoting over to that hearing that you have upcoming with Tulsi Gabbard, the president's nominee to be the director of national intelligence. Obviously, she's one of the more controversial picks. What is it that you expect to hear from her during her testimony, at least the open part of the testimony?
I think she will make a good opening statement about her path forward, about her experience, and then I think the questions will focus back about perhaps her trips overseas. And then she'll also be asked a lot of questions about FISA and about the 702, the reauthorization, which will occur next year, and her support for it, what she's learned from the time in which she had real reservations about some of the protections that were in place And now where she's had an opportunity to learn about a number of those protections that have been put in place and that, make sense. So I think those will be a number of the items that will be brought up, and and that'll give her an opportunity as well to explain how much she really knows about the intelligence community and how capable she is. I'm expecting that she will do a very good job, and she'll be prepared to answer those questions in an open forum, and then look forward to visiting with her in the closed forum as well. I think she's going to do just fine today.
Well, we look forward to that hearing. Senator Mike Rounds, Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee. You've got a busy day ahead of you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
We do. Thank you.
All right. We'll